Hello guys, welcome back to this new video. In this video, I'm going to share with you a few differences between employee, business owner, and an entrepreneur. The number one difference is what we call ownership. When you are an employee, you don't own. That's why you are an employee. So it means you work for someone. You have your salary. And in a business owner, you own your business. You know, even if you have a partner, but you are the owner as well. And then an entrepreneur, at the early stage of your company, you can own your business if you don't have a partner. But sometimes when your company go and you raise a fund or you let an investor invest in your company, so that means now you are not the only owner. You guys can share what we call, the percentage of this company. This is the number one factor. And then the number two is what we call the risk. As an employee, you have a zero risk. Of course, because you work for someone, you have a salary, you know. But for a business owner, your risks are moderated. You just have to know your niche, you just have to know your market, your product, and your service. But the entrepreneur, the risks are high. That's why so many people used to say 99.9% of all the startup fail because it's very competitive. Being an entrepreneur is very hard. You have to be innovative, you know, you have to know how to challenge your competitor, you have to know how to solve a problem, build a good product and a good service. This is very important. And then the next one is what I call a source of income. With the source of income, when you are an employee, your source of income is your salary. Every month you have your salary. Very simple. But if you are a business owner, your source of income depends on the service or the product of your business. When you know your niche, you know the market, you have a very good service or product, that's your source of income. But for an entrepreneur, your source of income is your asset. So it means the problem you identify on the market, you provide the solution for that specific problem, and your potential to promote with a very good marketing strategy your product or your service, that will be what we call a source of income. But in general, most of the entrepreneurs at the early stage of their company, they don't make money. All the money your company make, you have to reinvest and to let your company grow. This factor is very important. And then the next factor is what I call decision making and time management. For an employee, you don't make a decision, you follow the decision, you follow the rules of your company. But for a business owner, you make a decision because you own the business, but the decision you make are based on the quality of your product or of your service. But for an entrepreneur, you make a decision even if you are at the early stage of your company, but your decisions are based on the data, are based on so many information, so many feedback, the market result data, the client or customer's feedback, your competitor. You have to make a decision based on those specific information. But when your company go and reach some a level, you are not the only one decision maker, especially when you have an investor. When you have an investor, all of you have to make a decision together. This is very important. And the time management for an employee, your time management, it's you just have a specific time. You have to come at work at this time and you leave at this time. For a business owner, your time are moderated, and are based on the type of business you have, and how focused you can be on that specific business. But for an entrepreneur, you have to be focused 100% because it's very, very competitive. So I can say you are always busy, you don't have time. So this is a few difference between these three concepts. If you guys you appreciate the content and you want to go so far, you just click the link below this short video and start using our AI business platform. Through this platform, you have a specific, functionality where you can learn how to manage time, how to manage your project, presentation, reports, how to close a deal, how to learn new skills, all those stuff. And don't forget to make a comment, share with your friends. See you next time, and bye.